Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's me, Mitch, down here in the corner. Congratulations, Val Perry, who just won a t-shirt over on Kelsey's channel. How about that? And they're just finishing up, and I'm just getting started. Very interesting guests they had this morning. But we're here now, and it's Monday morning, and welcome. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. As Kilson and Company fade into the sunset, or sunrise, whichever the case may be, we will start by drinking it, if we got it. While we wait for the bell to ring in the Kilts classroom, the students to file out down the hall and into my classroom. How many we got so far? It says 36. Is that right? Let's see. We go over here and look. 39. Okay, here they come. Don't dawdle in the hallway, children. All right, no hurry. Wait for some people to show up. It is Monday morning. It is Monday morning after all. I had a great live stream yesterday morning. A nice panel. Decent attendance for Sunday morning. Enjoyed it. And I had a great day yesterday. I had a great couple of days off. Well, it was a day off, basically. Saturday I had the day off. Sunday, I didn't do much after the morning live stream, but I did go to my son's house for dinner. And I kind of keep track of these milestones on my stroke recovery, but I have not been to my son's house for about 7 months, since right before my stroke, because it's just you've seen me film things at my son's house, but that seems like a lifetime ago. And for the first time yesterday, I made 2 road trips in one day. 2 road trips. My first road trip of the day was to the post office. And I did that right after my live stream yesterday morning because John Smoothie 420, is John here? I don't see him yet. Smoothie 420 sent me a present. A big surprise. I didn't know what it was, but I did know that it had arrived at my P.O. box. So I got my car and I drove over there, and I was kind of hoping Smoothie would be here for this. John, are you here? And it was there, and I picked it up. And John sent me, I haven't opened it yet, because it is sealed up. He sent me a couple of cigars. Why, you can't think of a better gift. When anybody wants to give me something as a present, that's the first thing that comes to mind. My father, on the other hand, was a golfer. So what do we buy Dad? Well, got a golf shirt, a golf balls, a subscription to a golf mag. It's always golf themed gifts. For me, it always seems to be cigars, and that's perfectly fine for me. Lori White says, so Smoothie is John. Yes, Yes, I know that because he told me once in the chat, and I try to remember first names. Some people like to be private, and I respect that. But John wrote me a nice little note, and it says, Mitch, hope you're doing well. Thought I'd send you a couple of my favorites as a token of my appreciation. Keep being amazing. Thank you, John. Thank you. A friend in Indiana. Signed, John. Parentheses, Smoothie for, yes, John, you're here. That's great for the grand opening. So they sent, I got the package here from Wild Bill's, it says, and it says on the label, Drew Estate, but I still have no idea yet what these are. So I saved this for this morning. I'm going to cut this open. And we're going to reach in there and we're going to pull out a Baccarat. Oh, these are great. Thank you. Thank you. A couple of these. And this will be one of my special occasion cigars. So thank you so much. And there's two of them in here, and they came through in perfect shape, no damage or anything, and they're going to go right in the humidor. Thank you so much, John. Very kind of you. And I went to the post office, I picked them up, and then my son had invited me to dinner, so I went over to his house about 4 o'clock, and we smoked a cigar out on his back porch, looking at the water and the intercoastal. I get my cell phone and basically filmed me lighting my cigar there. Very short little thing, but just for me to save as again, chronicling the memorable events or milestones of my stroke recovery. And going back over to his house, navigating his very upslope driveway and steps all over the place, up and down to get in, walking around, no walker, no cane, all day. He made sous vide, big, thick pork chops. And they were so good. For dinner, he's trying Carnivore. They basically all maybe had some green beans with it, but basically nothing else. Didn't see a glass of wine in sight. It was great. I stayed there till about 7 o'clock, drove home, and immediately somebody hit my off switch. So here I am this morning. If you got any questions for me before I start to say hello, put QQQ in the chat. See, Peter is here. And thanks again, John. Thank you so much. Very nice of you. Okay. I guess Gilsey's all done over there. Let me take a quick look. Yes, he is. All right. Don't have to worry about that. People are starting to come in here. I put this thing up early yesterday. I created the live stream so I could go to my son's house about 4 o'clock. And not to forget to do it when I got home. I knew I'd be tired when I got home. And if I forgot to do it, I'd get a few emails from people saying, Mitch, you didn't put up the live, so I did it early yesterday. And sure enough, at 3, Mike Sealy was the first one and saw it at 3:01 yesterday afternoon. So I figured YouTube would obliterate all the early entries, but they didn't. Good on you, YouTube. And Peter chimed in, and Nikki W. chimed in yesterday afternoon. Rick said, hello, see you in the morning, and John Smoothie. See you all in the morning for coffee. Yeah, that's 9th. Time is at 10 o'clock at night, 10:45. We had Wayne Herman, and Lady June says good morning from England in the middle of the night. Jem was here at 1:09 in the morning. Brian Dish. Morning, Mitch, and all the bitch fits. Jerry was here. How you doing? In the middle of a forest. Where's the first part of your name there, Jerry? Good morning to Mitch. And then the rest of all you bitch fits. She says, okay. And then this morning at 6:30, warming up to 7, Tuka chimed in. Tuka, we enjoyed the little guided tour of the sports stadium yesterday. Thank you so much for that. He said, I hope you enjoyed the tour. Yeah, we had that on our live stream yesterday morning. Tuka wandering all over Finland, showing us ski jumps and things. It was very interesting. Very interesting. Mike Sealy chimed in this morning. Hi, Mike. How are you? And Kurt, who joined us in the live stream yesterday. Good morning to you, Kurt. Kurt saying good morning to everybody. Julia Wigger. From across the pond. Hi, Julia. Good morning. Or not. It's maybe afternoon there, depending on where you are, but it's pretty close. Aaron chimed in. Booby Goats, hi, Aaron. How are you, Roxanne friend? Peter said good morning to everybody. Brian Dish. John chimed in this movie at 6:59. Pretty close. Brian Beebet, 6:59. Wow. Who won this morning? Larry Ryan, 6:59. Lori Weissel, 6:59. Where's the 7 o'clock? Well, after taking a day off, he's back. Robbie Autry hit it at 7 on the money, and Barry Simon shortly thereafter. Hi, Barry, how are you? Good morning to you, and Lori, and Smoothie, and Kay Renard, and Marla Kelly, Lady Juna. Again, everybody checking in at 7 o'clock. Jeff Johnson, the name you know. Hi, Jeff. How you doing this morning? Good to see you, my friend. And Brian Dish checked in again, and that was the end of the 7 o'clock hour. Thomas came in. Hi, Thomas. How are you? North Dakota Carnivore. How are you? And where are we? Linda McDaniel, and who else is new? Chris Swain from Australia. How you doing, my friend? And we have Juliet here. Hi, Juliet. Good morning to you. Good morning. Glad to see you here. Steve Rogers, Captain America in the house. We can start now. Our superhero has arrived. Rick is here as your quack in the morning. Good morning to you. And CB, good to see you always. Loretta Nadal, no running in the hole. There you go. The hole monitor will get you. Time for a sip. I'm feeling great this morning. Popped out of bed at 5 a.m. and all well rested. Had a good night's sleep. Went to bed early. I was asleep probably by 8:30 last night. So I got a good night's sleep last night. And ready to face the day. Terry P., good morning to you. I said hi to Lori already, but hi again. Rick guessed cigars. Rick was correct. Thomas is here this morning, and Anthony here. Good morning, Anthony. Rex is here. How you doing, Rex? Good to see you. Anybody else I missed? I don't know if I have any big speeches prepared for this morning. So any topics that you want to talk about? Any questions that you may have? Hopefully, Peter will make sure that I don't miss them, and I'll try to keep an eye on the chat. And as usual, something will probably come up. a rabbit hole will open, and maybe we can help somebody that's stuck on something or having a problem or weight loss stall or an issue with maintaining carnivore. It was interesting. I listened to most of Kilt's stream this morning, and the little Italian girl, what was her name? I forgot it already. I spent, I don't know if it was just me, and I certainly understand her having that accent, but I think I missed a few of the points she was trying to make because I wasn't able to figure out what she was saying, but I got the general gist of it. And she's kind of like the Italian counterpart of Rick. She really almost, it sounded like, didn't know any other way of life but carnivore. And at the end there, a question came up about how often she went to the bathroom. And she said once or twice a month. And that would absolutely shock any human being. It would shock any human being that has not been a carnivore for a while and gotten used to the fact. And when I say been a carnivore, I mean a true and faithful way of life carnivore. Now, I was surprised to hear that she did eat fruit. Obviously, I thought that would have made the infrequent bathroom visits a factor, but evidently it didn't. But I truly understand how that can happen because I said many times, it happened to me when I became a carnivore. I was at the point where for a short period of time, I went 2 weeks with no bloating, no issues, no nothing except worrying. The hell's wrong with me? Not realizing that that's really probably the way it should work. That when we're not eating all this fermentable stuff, we may not have the microbiome bacteria populations whose job it is to ferment the sugar and turn it into fatty acids. We don't get much in there to accumulate. And for me, I know here we are with the poop talk, I've settled into about once a week. Once a week. And that's it. And if you tell anybody, maybe I go take a poop once a week, they look at you like, you must be dying. You must be constipated. And you don't feel like you're dying. And you know that when you gotta go, you get an urge and you go. Sometimes I can go up to 2 weeks. I don't think my gut has ever worked any better than it does now on carnivore. And I have not had I lived a constipated life. If they were going to write a book about me, they would write The Constipated Life of Mitch. It all went away and carnivore cured it. It tells you one important thing. It tells me one important thing about carnivore. It tells me that the myth of walking around with 20 pounds of undigested, rotting red meat in your colon is just that. It's a fairy tale. Doesn't happen. Your colon is empty most of the time because everything you eat, every single drop of food that you put in your mouth, is fully digested and absorbed before it gets to your colon or your large intestine. There's nothing left of it. 100% of what you're eating is what your body wants and uses. It doesn't reject fiber and sugar, plant material. It doesn't reject it and push it on into your colon so that the bacteria can eat it. It doesn't require that we ride herd over a bunch of bacteria that are hitching a ride in our colon and living off of our food, that we need to concentrate fully on feeding them, taking care of them, paying for their car payment and their car insurance, and rent. We don't need that. We don't need that. And when people like Kelsey say, we don't want any bacteria in our gut, people go, oh. But everybody knows how important the microbiome is, and you need to know what it is. You need to take probiotics, postbiotics, prebiotics, symbiotics, every kind of biotic known to man to make sure that you have happy bacteria living in your gut. Because if you don't have happy bacteria, they will wreak havoc on your life and health. Well, what if I don't care? What if I want to evict all those freeloaders in my gut that I have to take care of and worry about and try to regulate the battles that go on between them? Who's the dominant street gang today down there? All the while, this stuff making me sick, when all I got to do is not eat the stuff that they eat, and I'll starve them all out. And that's what we carnivores, pure carnivores, do. That's why cheating is bad. That's why one cheat meal can just screw you up for a week. Because all of a sudden, all of these starving freeloaders in your gut that are almost gone, almost dead, almost on the way out, along comes a fix for them. It brings them back to life, and they start celebrating, and you feel like shit because it doesn't take much. So if you're starving the enemy to death, you're not spending your fortune on probiotics and supplements and things that will replenish the strains of bacteria that your proper diet has worked so hard to get rid of. Think about that the next time, Peter, that you have to have those berries. You knew this was aimed at you, didn't you? Because I learned that lesson the hard way myself. So I'm just passing on. At least for me now, that's where my mind goes when the cravings say, boy, wouldn't some berries be nice right about now? I say to myself, I'm almost got the war won. Why would I want to go back to square one in my gut and bring all those pesky little bugs back to life and have to start all over? That's why a cheat meal. There's more to it than just one little thing. It undoes so much good that you've been working so hard at, and then finally, the cheat meals will stop on their own. You won't have the desire for that shit anymore. And that little girl this morning on Kelsey's channel brought that to mind. When she was talking about how she was, I think she makes a mistake. And I'll talk about that in a second. And remind me if I get off subject. But I think that some of the things she talks about that she does in her lifestyle, she's going to really live to regret. Really live to regret it. I think, and I may be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but I really believe that she's headed down a path that will absolutely devastate the quality of whatever life she has. Focusing, and it's simple, focusing so at age 26, feeling good, eating right, but living in a laboratory by the numbers, hooked up to the machines, and focusing on every single last opportunity that she has to micromanage the physiology that'll work just fine if you leave it alone and just feed it. And I got sad when I watched that. I said, at 26 years old, you've got it figured out. Your parents had it figured out. You're eating the right diet, living a great life. You're feeling great. Stop worrying about trying to feel better than great. Stop worrying about trying to fine-tune and monitor the numbers and get the blood working. Tweak this number a little and that number a little. It's an obsession that will ruin your life. Peter says he's sending me questions. I've seen the questions. Let me go back and answer them right now. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Peter. Peter's talking to everybody. That's what Peter does. In the middle of a forest has a question right here. On average, Mitch, how much sleep do you get nightly? Mine is 7 hours. I get 5 to 6 hours of sleep. I think it's a given that as you get older, you really tend to sleep less and less. Maybe because your body doesn't do as much growing at night as young people. Young kids can sleep for 12 hours, and old people don't sleep that much, especially healthy old people. Kurt is sending me an email telling me about all the questions I haven't answered. I'm going to get to that. Thanks so much, though. Thanks so much. Got a lot of helpful people out there. So that's it. I average 5 to 6 hours a night. Except last night, I think I may have got 7. Really, but maybe more. But normally I'm 10 o'clock, lights out, 4 to 4:30, wide awake. When I well, Rick takes a crap every day. And vive la différence, Rick. You got to wonder if maybe some of that stuff that you're eating, your body doesn't want. Don't know. I don't want to be crass and rude about it, but don't care. Jeff Johnson has a question. Jeff Johnson says, just curious, Mitch, have you become familiar with the soft-spoken Dr. Reese? He's an influencer, but not necessarily a carnivore. No, never heard of him, Jeff. Never heard of him. There's too many people on YouTube these days. Some of them are probably wonderful and informative that I've missed, but there's just too much to keep up with. Too much. Too many people with too much advice. It takes time to get to know somebody. So, no, I don't. If he's somebody you think I absolutely should see, let me know. I'll check him out. And I'll check him out. Jeff Johnson has a, Peter says Jeff Johnson has a question. Yeah, okay, got that one. Let's see, what else we got? Lambs has got a question. Lambs, have you ever air fried a pork belly roast? It's a great way to get more fat in. Yes, I have done that. And I've also cooked it in the oven, sliced it up, and then threw the slices in an air fryer and turns them into big fat slices of bacon, which is really, really good. And it's uncured bacon too. So there's so many ways you can cook that. But yeah, I've tried that. For me, though, the good old method of throwing the bacon in the Mueller frying pan and then pouring the eggs right into the fat. God, it makes a great meal. Plenty of fat between the eggs and the bacon and the fat the eggs are cooked in. It soaks up most of it. That is probably the meal that I get the most fat eating. That's why I like eggs so much, because you don't have to think about the ratio of fat. And the fat does not render out of an egg when you cook it, which makes it a very unique food when you think about it. What other fatty food can you throw on the heat where the fat doesn't render out? Fat does not render out of an egg. In fact, the egg does just the opposite. The egg acts like a fat sponge and soaks up any fat that happens to be around it. How could that not be good for you? Well, anyway, if you ask a carnivore, don't ask a doctor how that is not good for you. He'll tell you that it'll kill you. Jerry, who took her name out of her handle. I don't know, why'd you do that, Jerry? Used to be Carnivore Jerry in the middle of a forest. Is it too long? But yeah, so she's asking Peter, call her Jerry. Yes, Wave's typing. Well, that's a long name, but you all know the trick about putting the @ sign. Peter says, please pin the Buy Me a Coffee link to the top of the chat. People are asking for it. Oh, God. You know that I'm not going to say no to that request. Hold on a second here. Buy me a coffee. Here it is, and copy it. And thank you, Peter. I knew there's a reason I keep you around. And paste it in and go enter and pin. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. There it is. Lambs has a question about pork belly roast. Got that. I appreciate you. Make sure, because I can miss these things, and if I don't get to them in order, I didn't jump on them right away when you pointed them out, because I knew that they were coming up in this chat, which I can put up on the screen here. I'm all the way up to 9:23 already. 7:23. Shades of the old time. Great explanation of gut bacteria mentioned. We've got that, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. We've got that all wrong. We've got the gut bacteria all wrong. The bacteria are everywhere. We live in a sea of microbes. They cover every square inch of your body, of every living thing's body, of most surfaces on the planet. We keep running around with our disinfectant, our Lysol, trying to kill germs. We call them germs. Without those germs, there'd be no life on this planet. The majority of the germs we peacefully coexist with. They are distant, ancient relatives of ours. We are related at some point back in time. to every one of those gazillions of germs that live all around us. Their single-cell little organism also has a nucleus with DNA, also has machinery that are generating energy. They are reproducing, they are eating and excreting, and they're an ancient relative of us with whom we share so much chemistry. But like in any species, there are good actors and bad actors. But in the overall scheme of things, they all play some purpose and have a reason for living. The big question is, do they belong inside us? Well, yeah, we have to have them inside of us. They do form some functions, but a cow couldn't take grass and turn it into a steak without them. So yes, these fermenting bacteria serve a terrific purpose in the hindgut of a cow or any other herbivore. And that particular branch of life evolved because of the presence of those bacteria. Had they never been there, we wouldn't have cows eating grass today, making juicy ribeyes. That's just the way it happened. It happened that way because of the players were there. And just like the very first eukaryote cell, the very first LUCA, last universal common ancestor of all of the plant and animal kingdom today, that first cell that formed a symbiotic relationship with a bacteria, another bacteria that it absorbed, that eventually went on to become the precursor to the mitochondria that lives in every one of our cells that produces the energy. Without that one event, maybe a billion 6 years ago, maybe that far ago, maybe 1,600,000 million years ago, somewhere on this planet that happened accidentally, among the trillions of bacteria that were probably living back then, they were prokaryote cells. But when one of them didn't digest that thing that it ate and made friends with it, and they formed a symbiotic relationship where the bacteria inside made it bargain, basically, and started producing energy, and the cell liked it and went on to reproduce with that chemistry, that was the beginning of life on this planet as we know it. Eukaryote life. It had to have happened that way. We pretty well have proof that it happened that way. So many people's ideologies won't accept that it happened that way. So their story can never be the same as my story, or any story that has basis in what we know so far, instead of just what we believe but have no proof of. And we manufacture proof when the need be, whether it be real proof or not. We have become very adept at manufacturing it. They call that propaganda. So these bacteria live in us. These bacteria form a beneficial purpose. And we have, not only in our gut, we have these so-called microbiomes. And a biome is just a word that means a system of different living organisms that exist for mutual benefit. At least that's my definition of it. We have an oral biome. We have a different set of bacteria that live in our mouth. We have a biome of bacteria that live on our skin. And if we get the right balance of that biome on our skin, that accounts for the fact that carnivores don't have body odor. But if we constantly wash it off every day in a hot shower with disinfectant soap, we have no biome on our skin. We sweat and we stink. There's a reason for everything. You do want the microbiome on your skin because that helps protect you from the elements. And it also it's not where body odor comes from. It's the opposite. Those little buggers, anything that comes out of your body that stinks, they munch it up, they eat it up, and it's gone, and you don't stink. And if you ever notice, if you've been in a room full of carnivores, it's very fragrant and pleasant. Carnivores don't fart a lot either, because that's bacteria farting. That's your microbiome putting out gas as a byproduct of what they're busy munching on, and fermenting, which may be sugar. All kinds of things in our life depend on what those little buggers are doing on us, in us, around us. Some of them are pathogens. Some of them make us sick. Viruses. That's not a bacteria. A virus isn't a bacteria. A virus basically isn't even a living thing. If you understand a virus and how it reproduces, you realize it's nothing more than a memory stick with a program in it. And until it plugs into something, it's not alive. It can't reproduce by itself. It hitches a ride along with in the reproductive mechanisms in cells. So viruses are not like bacteria, and that is why you can't take antibiotics and get rid of a virus. Tell that to these fool doctors these days that keep prescribing antibiotics for a virus, rendering the human immune to the effect of antibiotics. And when they really need them to fight a real bacterial type infection, the body has immune responses to that. And the virus and the bacteria have free reign. We keep doing it wrong. Most people, most cases, and even doctors, they all were taught in medical school that antibiotics you don't use against viruses. And yet every time my son has a cold, or he goes to the doctor, and they always prescribe a Z-Pack. I won't take them. I'm going to be on my deathbed before I'll take an antibiotic. Why? Because I do have beneficial bacteria in my body. Have them in my mouth, have them on my skin. And if I take an antibiotic, that's blanket warfare against bacteria, good and bad. And if you do eat a lot of plant material, and you do need these bacteria that can ferment the plant in your gut, you're going to kill them too. So you're not only going to have to get over what's making you sick, but you're going to have to get over the effects of having to rebuild the beneficial bacteria. The question is, do we need the beneficial bacteria in our gut? And I think the answer is no. And I'll get off of this subject after one observation. You all know Lee Copus, Kent Carnivore. You all know that he's basically an incredibly healthy young man, athletic, talented, smart. You all know that he had his colon removed because of, I think it was ulcerative colitis, Crohn's. But he has no colon. He's a carnivore. He has no colon, but he has a bag. He has an ostomy bag. If you have no colon, you have no microbiome. Oh, there might be some little bit of bacteria at the bottom of the small intestine before the bag. But realistically, think about it. Here's a human male living perfectly healthy, healthier than most people on the planet. with no microbiome. Now, keep that in mind when you tune into all of these hundreds or thousands of YouTubers that make video after video about the balance of your microbiome. You know what you need in the microbiome, how the microbiome put out chemicals that affect every aspect of your life, and how they can change your mood, and how they can do this for you, and how they can do that for you. And it's up to you, my dear friend, to micromanage that microbiome and take a census every day and eat these probiotics and these postbiotics and these prebiotics and all that stuff to make sure that you get exactly the right microbiome so you can live a great life. And here comes Lee Kopus with no microbiome, living a better life than all of them. And if you can tell me how that jives with the current conventional wisdom about microbiome and make a good convincing point, I'll consider it. But if you can't make that point, and I don't see how you can, how can there be a microbiome when there is no housing for it? I'll continue to believe that the only reason the microbiome is there in the first place and ever benefited humankind is because it took out the garbage. That's my view of the microbiome. Its purpose is to take out the trash, take out the garbage. There's no garbage, they're out of a job. With Lee Kopus, if he ate all the crap that they keep telling us to eat, all of his garbage would end up in the bag. He just empty it. Easy peasy. But if you don't have a bag and you got a colon that has to process your garbage, and you have to be in the bathroom twice a day, you have to have all the distress that goes with a bowel that's doing things that it really doesn't want to do, and relying on these little trash removal microbes to keep munching this shit up, turning it into gas and maybe something that the animal can use. And another bit of evidence why we should not be eating plants and insoluble fiber. And what do they recommend for us when we're starting to have all these stomach problems and constipation, and the wrong bacteria, the wrong strains of bacteria take over in the gut because of the food available for them? Because that's what determines which strain of bacteria dominates your gut, which have the most food available. They all eat something a little different. That's great if you're a cow, but not for a human or a lion. We're not lions either, but that's my take on a microbiome. I don't know. I was responding to Jeff's compliment about how he appreciated that explanation, and I hope I thought I'd take the time to expand on it. It would be better for me to make a standalone video, because anything I say on these live streams, it's a flash in the pan. It just poof, comes and goes. Maybe 100 people see it. Some people watch the replays, but nobody watches the entire replay, basically. So I may have spouted some of the best wisdom I ever said in my life on a live stream, and it just disappears into nothingness after that's over. Or at least with a video, YouTube will keep serving it up, or serve it up in answer to a query or a search. So that'd be a good subject. Basically title it, Why I Think, how would I tell it? Why I think the current thinking on gut microbiome is bullshit or something like that. Try to make it a title that attract people's attention. Controversial. But Kiltz agrees with me. It's me and Kiltz against the world sometimes, I think. That why do you need the trash man in your gut, the garbage processing employees, if you're not eating the garbage? And that's why the little girl on Kelsey this morning could say, I don't go to the bathroom once or twice a month. You know, it's the opposite of garbage in, garbage out, right? No garbage in, nothing comes out. And I'm pretty well there too. Why Rick goes every day, I have no idea. But if you ain't putting it in, it's not going to come out. So something there in that diet, Rick, you might want to figure out why it is that you're creating so much waste. I can't tell you. I couldn't tell you. There's the buy me a coffee. And yes, I put it up there. I heard my cell phone go ding, ding, ding. So let's see. Let's see. Yes, somebody. Somebody. Yes, wow, look at all you people. Holy cow, thank you so much. Peter. Carl Griggs bought a coffee. Mitch, you made me smile. I get you 100%. Thank Jerry, not Carl. Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you so much. That's Jerry in the middle of a forest. I didn't know your last name. Thank you. Jeff Johnson, thanks for the great explanation of the gut bacteria. He said, bought me 3 coffees. Thank you so much. Always want to hear more on that. Well, I gave you some more. Drink it if you got it, buddy. Don't mind if I do. Thank you. And Chris Wayne, thank you, mate. Thank you, mate. Bought me a coffee down there in Australia. Said enjoy. And B-Matt, 5 coffees. Holy cow. Thank you, Brian. Enjoy, Mitch, he says. Thank you. Thank you, people. Thank you so much. Very nice of you. Doesn't take much to make my day, but that really, really makes me feel like I'm appreciated. Thank you so much. Amy's here with us. Hi, Amy. How you doing today? Good to see you. I think you got to put your name back in your handle there, Jerry. I think it makes it easier for... Maybe there's a reason why you did that. I don't know, but I knew who you were because I'm so used to seeing it up there. Ernie Ermont is here. Gil Ream is with us. They're all talking about how much sleep. Boy, am I behind. But the Buy Me Peter says, buy me a coffee link. Yeah, thank you, Peter. Thank you. And Peter's conversing with everybody. It's great. Great. Rick the Duck Man uses large soap that he made. Okay. Peter. Mitch posts his Amazon link in the description of all his videos. You can go to his OldGuyCarnivore.com. And thank you, Peter. Peter's going to he keeps this up, he's going to make himself indispensable to me. Way to go. Way to cement your job, Peter. Chris Wayne says, bought you a coffee now. Now, let's see how long it takes to go. No, it goes through right away. Sometimes I don't see it on my computer. I only get a notification on my cell phone, and sometimes I'm in hot and heavy in the middle of talking about something and don't notice it right away. But I really try to make sure I answer every one of those, reply with a personal thank you. And if I ever missed one, I'm sorry. I don't think I've missed many. And Loretta's here. How you doing, Loretta? Good to see you. We're environmentally friendly. We're fragrant. We smell good. One thing I'll tell you about Carnivore, you talk about environmentally friendly. I don't know about you. I live by myself. How much trash do you generate? How many trash cans do you have to drag out to the street twice a week? Carnivores, at least me, maybe one kitchen bag, one of those Glad kitchen bags, I may generate one of those bags full of trash for an entire week. My neighbors, with no kids or anything, each of them always hauls out 2 or 3 big trash cans full. One is a recycling trash can. I don't recycle anything. I don't need anything that comes in all that packaging. I don't have 6 pizza boxes to throw away. But everybody else has all this garbage. And Mitch, sometimes I take my trash can to the curb every 2 weeks, even though I have 2 pickups a week. So we are environmentally friendly, and I think it's about damn time we got credit for being such non-polluting citizens in all respects. Miss So says the common cold is a virus. Yes, it is. It's a virus, for God's sake. It's a virus. It's a virus, it's not a germ. It's a virus. And viruses are not alive. They don't multiply outside of the host's cells. They require the machinery of the host, W, to duplicate the code that they contain, along with they hitch a ride on cellular division and replicate themselves that way. Kind of like, I read it of a science fiction movie. Josephine C., yes, I heard that we have some of the nicest coffee here. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. You said the magic word. I better get going here. I'm falling behind again. No, I'm only 10 minutes behind it. Not bad. Not bad. This, for some reason, worked out. Peter Kruger, thank you, Peter. Truth bombs. I love it. I hope so. They're opinion bombs. If they happen to be true, and I happen to be right, that's even an added benefit. Even an added benefit. Jerry Voitis, thanks for the microbiome lecture. I gotta say, that's my opinion. And there are more than likely some strains of bacteria in our that we do want to have there. But I don't think it's up to us. And this whole subject came up because I was saying that I think that the little Italian girl from Kills this morning is falling into a trap. And that trap's being set by industry that wants to sell us shit. Well, the first way to sell somebody something is to convince them that they have a need for it. So when it comes to people, if they want to sell us their drugs, there has to be some metric that we will look at to prove to us that we indeed need the fix to a problem we weren't aware that we had. And by all rights and logic shouldn't have to be aware of, and that is to monitor the living machinery that we call our body. It's been doing just fine since the beginning of time without some idiot who knows nothing about the intricate chemistry trying to stick his 2 cents in, like your mother-in-law does, trying to run your life and your wife's life or husband. Stay out of it. We don't need your guidance. But the industry doesn't want to hear that. Just like they don't want to hear that people can eat meat and not get sick. What you say? What are we doctors and drug companies going to do to make a living? We have Porsche payments, for God's sakes. Kids in college, big houses. We're overextended. We're important. We have egos and reputations and legacies, and based on the things the garbage we've been preaching all these years. You want us to just go away? Well, yes, but it ain't going to happen. So they sit around and spend all their days figuring out how can we hook the people into more and more of this stuff we've got them into? How can we make them worry more about their health? Take more, quote, proactive steps to fix things, unless we convince them that these things are indeed broken. And they come up with ways to do it. And this microbiome nonsense was just another one of those ways. Who the hell ever was concerned about microbiome populations 100 years ago? It's absurd. It is so absurd and so obvious. My God, how come people can't see this? And you got to believe that they're not all stupid people. There are some of them very smart and clever that are orchestrating this nonsense for their own gain. And those are the people in the world that need to be disappeared somehow, put out of a job. They should be the ones homeless on the street because they're contributing nothing but misery to society. But it doesn't work that way. They're the ones that are getting the awards and the honors for being so brilliant. They're the ones that are cutting the ribbon in the new cancer centers that they keep building everywhere. Because why do we need all these new cancer centers? Doesn't anybody look and say, why do we need these cancer centers? Why do we need to double the size of our dialysis clinic in our hospital? Why do we need to raise money to buy more MRI machines? Why do we need more medical schools to teach more doctors? Why do we need more commercials on TV to sell drugs that really nobody needs if they would just ignore us in the first place? And we all know the answer to that. So everybody's got to make a living somehow. And if you can't find a job, by God, invent one. The economy, if everybody got the mindset of carnivores, the economy would crash and we'd all be gone. So you got to be careful about what you wish for, too. Another old Mitch. Hey, boy, a Mitch that's older than me, 82-year-old Mitch. Nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you, man. That's great to hear. Welcome up. Welcome. Always welcome a guy. All Mitches are welcome here. Even son of... No, I won't say it. I'd be corny. Let's see how we doing. We're doing good on time. Keeping up pretty good. Made it past the 8 o'clock hour. Wow. On a Monday morning. Still got 118 people here. Thanks for coming, y'all. Good to see you. Good to see you. Loretta Nada has a question. Can an overabundance of carnivore foods be a... Oh, it got cut off. Can an overabundance of carnivore foods be... It starts with E. Finish your thought. I like guessing games, but I need a little more of a clue than that. What begins with E has 32 letters, and wow, people are buying coffees, it appears. Francine B bought a coffee. Thank you, Francine. Drink it if you got it, she says. I don't mind if I do, Francine. Thank you. And in case you've forgotten, my coffee is still piping hot after all this time. Thanks to Francine. Francine, who bought me this coffee warmer that I have right here. So thank you. One of my most cherished possessions. Seriously. Seriously. Wow. It's just one time a month. Wow. Holy cow. I guess that's bathroom talk again. Jeff Johnson says, please make that video on gut micro. Boy, I will get a lot of heat about that because even most of the carnivore community, guys, even most of the doctors, they all buy into that stuff. They may have, and I can't say that they don't know what they're talking about. Some of them are incredibly smart people. But I think if you look at it from a very logical standpoint, and certainly from an evolutionary standpoint, because everything that is the way it is today got there for some reason. And sometimes the only way to figure out anything is to know what that reason was, because nothing just happened by itself. Nothing survives unless it's beneficial. It just doesn't survive unless it's beneficial. And if it's harmful, it has the opposite effect. It stops that particular evolutionary pathway in its tracks. It never gets any further. So anything that has survived this long for 1.5 billion years, just the first symbiotic relationship between two different microbes happened, and the eukaryote life became a thing. And people forget, I say 1.5 billion years ago, it wasn't until a little more than 500,000 years ago that we actually had the start of animal life as we know it today. A period called the Cambrian explosion. And it was an explosion of life that they were talking about. And there was a reason why it happened then, and it was a combination of all the factors involved. The fact that oxygen levels on the planet were increasing, the plant life, algae life in the oceans was generating this oxygen. CO2 levels changed, continents moved around, weather patterns changed, ice ages came and went. All that stuff had a hand in shaping the fact that we're here right now, 8 billion of us, trying to figure out how to stay alive on this planet full of 8 billion other people. It didn't just happen. I mean, it didn't just pop, poof, come into existence. It evolved. And there's a reason for everything. And the odds of it having evolved the way it did are so astronomical that if you can think of a number close to infinity, which is, of course, infinite, that would be the odds. Which is why, I laugh about it, which is why you have not been abducted by an alien and anal probed. Somebody's calling me. Who's calling me? Wildwood, Florida. I'm not interested. I don't know. Send them to voicemail. Probably spam. And if it's important, they will leave a message for me. My garbage. That's Rick talking about his garbage. I don't know what his point was there. And Peter, I also generate 1 kitchen garbage bag. Yeah, we don't generate a lot of trash as a carnivore. Well, we certainly got into some garbage conversations today, didn't we? Oh, now my phone is just going crazy. Probably voicemails. Probably junk. Oh, all right. Is that somebody else bought me some coffee that I didn't thank them for? Let's see. No, Francine was the last one. I want to make sure I thanked everybody. Thank you so much, guys. Oh, Mitch says, please, Mitch, please talk to my mother-in-law. You're 82 years old. Your mother-in-law is still living. Oh my God, sorry about that. That's funny. That's funny. You guys are the best. You guys are, I got to the bottom of the chat. Look at that. Can you imagine? But you guys are the best. Ann B is here. Ann B is saying goodbye to everybody. Our household waste is way down. One bag a week. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. I got a girl that cleans my house for me since I had the stroke. She generates a little trash because she, cleaning materials and stuff like that. But there's no food waste. And any garbage that I have, like chicken bones and things like that, I just put it in a Ziploc bag. And when it's full, then I throw it in the trash can. But that's just one little bag full of garbage. So, and eggshells, you can crunch them down to nothing. It's crazy. I just had to buy. I can't remember the last time I bought it. It's coming today from Amazon. One of those big boxes of Glad kitchen bags. They have the deodorized ones, which are really nice. But there's 100 and something bags in that box on 2 rolls. I won't use those for a year, 2 years. It's crazy. It's crazy. But it's efficient. Francine, thank you, Francine. You're such a great teacher. Thank you. I appreciate that. I try to explain some of the crazy things the opinions and theories that I have. But after time, I just get myself in trouble. Well, listen, my friends, I can't believe we got through it in a timely manner. 12 minutes after 8. Perfect. There's always tomorrow. So let me give you a little happy music, and we'll call it a day. And I'll go about my day, and you go about yours. And we'll be back here tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. After Kelsey. Peter thanks everyone for being here today. John says they have a nice neurotoxic smell. They do. I was basically inferring that I should buy the unscented trash bags, but I don't sweat the small stuff like that. I don't worry about the non-toxic ceramic coating in my air fryer. I don't worry about sucking liquid through a plastic drinking straw. I don't worry about any of that shit. I eat the right food. What really kills me is the people who worry about the drinking straws, what they call toxic non-stick coatings, microplastics, are the same people that poison themselves from morning till night, eating toxic food that someone else told them is healthy, mixing green powders into smoothies. That's okay, but my God, don't go within 5 feet of a piece of plastic. We are misguided. And on that note, my friends, I will say goodbye to all of you and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow morning on Morning Coffee with Mitch. Till then, take the rest of the day off and eat meat.